Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Ether Tale Radio Theater. There's a lot of girl power in the room tonight because...
Heyo.
Hello.
First of all, the narrator this evening of our story is Barbara Henderson. Barbara, this is your mic check. Say hello to the people.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, that's coming through loud and clear. And the wonderful, intoxicating Melanie Peters is playing about 17 or 18 small roles. Does your microphone work? I hope so. Let's hear you.
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, very good. Excellent job. And then perhaps the greatest role this evening is the swallow, a bird that has such a good heart. And that is very appropriate that Karen Fisher plays the swallow because she comes from San Juan Capistrano.
Oh,
Tweet, tweet.
And that tweet was her sound check. And finally, we were, because the restraining order was lifted, Wade has a couple roles too. Wade, does your microphone work?
I certainly hope so.
Oh, Wade, the fearless leader here at WSRadio.com, the worldwide leader in Internet talk. And Wade is at the control board, and he'll be doing some wonderful stentorian voices for a town councilor and a mayor and a professor of ornithology. And you don't have to be stentorian. Any choices you want to do, Wade, is fine. I know you were considering a Bernie Sanders moment.
Well, I just didn't know.
which would be great. Because we're doing sometimes a little tongue-in-cheek modern take on this wonderful tale of The Happy Prince. It's a children's story. Surprisingly, you wouldn't expect it, a children's story written by Oscar Wilde. And it's a delightful tale. And a little melancholy, but I think you can handle it, y'all. I think you can. Ooh, I have to be close to this microphone, I can tell. So, let me pull a little closer to me. Oh, okay. So, indeed, now, here's the tale of The Happy Prince by Oscar Wilde.
High above the city, on a tall column, stood the statue of the Happy Prince. He was gilded all over with thin leaves of fine gold. For eyes, he had 2 bright sapphires, and a large red ruby glowed on his sword hilt. He was very much admired indeed,
He is as beautiful as a weathercock.
remarked one of the town councilors, who wished to gain a reputation for having artistic taste.
Only not quite so useful.
He added, fearing lest people should think him unpractical, which he really was not.
Why can't you be like the Happy Prince?
Asked a sensible mother of her little boy, who was crying for the moon.
The Happy Prince never dreams of crying for anything.
I'm so glad there is someone in the world who is quite happy.
Muttered a disappointed man as he gazed at the wonderful statue.
He looks just like an angel.
Like an angel.
Said the charity children as they came out of the cathedral in their bright scarlet cloaks and their clean white pinafores.
How do you know?
Said the mathematical master.
You have never seen one.
Oh, we have.
Oh,
We've
we
seen in our
have.
dreams.
In our
Yeah,
dreams.
that's true.
Answered the children, and the mathematical master frowned and looked very severe, for he did not approve of children dreaming. One night, there flew over the city a little swallow. His friends had gone away to Egypt 6 weeks before, but he had stayed behind, for he was in love with the most beautiful reed. He had met her early in the spring, as he was flying down the river after a big yellow moth, and had been so attracted by her slender waist that he had stopped to talk to her.
Shall I love you?
Said the swallow, who liked to come to the point at once, and the reed made him a low bow. So he flew round and round her, touching the water with his wings and making silver ripples. This was his courtship, and it lasted all through the summer.
It is a ridiculous attachment.
Ridiculous.
Twitted the other swallows.
She has no money.
No money.
Far too many relations.
Too many relations.
And indeed, the river was quite full of reeds. Then, when the autumn came, the swallows all flew away. After they had gone, our swallow felt lonely and began to tire of his lady love.
She has no conversation,
He said,
and I am afraid that she is a coquette, for she is always flirting with the wind.
and certainly whenever the wind blew, the reed made the most graceful curtsies.
I admit that she is domestic,
He continued,
but I love traveling, and my wife, consequently, should love traveling also. Will you come away with me?
he said finally to her, but the reed shook her head. She was so attached to her home.
You have been trifling with me.
He cried,
I am off to the pyramids. Goodbye.
and he flew away. All day long he flew, and at nighttime he arrived at the city.
Where shall I put up?
He said.
I hope the town has made preparations.
Then he saw the statue on the tall column.
I will put up there.
He cried.
It is a fine position, with plenty of fresh air.
So he alighted, just between the feet of the happy prince.
I have a golden bedroom.
He said softly to himself as he looked round, and he prepared to go to sleep. But just as he was putting his head under his wing, a large drop of water fell on him.
What a curious thing.
He cried.
There is not a single cloud in the sky. The stars are quite clear and bright, and yet it is raining. The climate in the north of Europe is really dreadful. The reed used to like the rain, but that was merely her selfishness.
Then another drop fell.
What is the use of a statue if it cannot keep the rain off?
He said,
I must look for a good chimney pot.
and he determined to fly away. But before he had opened his wings, a third drop fell. And he looked up and saw, what did he see? The eyes of the happy prince were filled with tears, and tears were running down his golden cheeks. His face was so beautiful in the moonlight that the little swallow was filled with pity.
Who are you?
He said,
I am the happy prince.
Why are you weeping then?
asked the swallow.
You have quite drenched me.
When I was alive and had a human heart,
Answered the statue.
I did not know what tears were, for I lived in the palace of Sanssouci, where sorrow is not allowed to enter. In the daytime, I played with my companions in the garden, and in the evening I led the dance in the great hall. Round the garden ran a very lofty wall, but I never cared to ask what lay beyond it. Everything about me was so beautiful. My courtiers called me the happy prince, and happy indeed I was, if pleasure be happiness. So I lived, and so I died. And now that I am dead, they have set me up here so high that I can see all the ugliness and all the misery of my city. And though my heart is made of lead, I cannot choose but to weep.
What, is he not solid gold?
Said the swallow to himself. He was too polite to make any personal remarks out loud.
Far away,
Continued the statue in a low, musical voice.
far away in a little street, there is a poorhouse. One of the windows is open, and through it I can see a woman seated at a table. Her face is thin and worn, and she has coarse red hands, all pricked by the needle, for she's a seamstress. She's embroidering passion flowers on a satin gown for the loveliest of the Queen's maids of honor to wear at the next court ball. In a bed in the corner of the room, her little boy is lying ill. He has a fever and is asking for oranges. His mother has nothing to give him but river water, so he is crying. Swallow, Swallow, little swallow, will you not bring her the ruby out of my sword hilt? My feet are fastened to this pedestal, and I cannot move.
I am waited for in Egypt,
said the swallow.
My friends are flying up and down the Nile and talking to the large lotus flowers. Soon they will go to sleep in the tomb of the great king. The king is there himself in his painted coffin. He is wrapped in yellow linen and embalmed with spices. Round his neck is a chain of pale green jade, and his hands are like withered leaves.
Swallow, swallow, little swallow,
said the prince.
will you not stay with me for one night and be my messenger? The boy is so thirsty, and the mother so sad.
I don't think I like boys,
answered the swallow.
Last summer, when I was staying on the river, there were 2 rude boys, the miller's sons, who were always throwing stones at me. They never hit me, of course. We swallows fly far too well for that. And besides, I come of a family famous for its agility. But still, it was a mark of disrespect.
But the happy prince looked so sad that the little swallow was sorry.
It is very cold here,
he said.
But I will stay with you for one night and be your messenger.
Oh, thank you, little swallow,
said the prince. So the swallow picked out the great ruby from the prince's sword and flew away with it in his beak over the roofs of the town. He passed by the cathedral tower where the white marble angels were sculptured. He passed by the palace and heard the sound of dancing. A beautiful girl came out on the balcony with her lover.
How wonderful the stars are,
he said to her.
and how wonderful is the power of love.
I hope my dress will be ready in time for the state ball,
she answered.
I have ordered passion flowers to be embroidered on it, but the seamstresses are so lazy.
Our swallow passed over the river and saw the lanterns hanging to the masts of the ships. He passed over the ghetto and saw the old merchants bargaining with each other and weighing out money in copper scales. At last, he came to the poor house and looked in. The boy was tossing feverishly on his bed, and the mother had fallen asleep. She was so tired. In he hopped and laid the great ruby on the table beside the woman's thimble. Then he flew gently round the bed, fanning the boy's forehead with his wings.
How cool I feel,
said the boy.
I must be getting better.
And he sank into a delicious slumber. Then the swallow flew back to the happy prince and told him what he had done.
It is curious,
he remarked.
But I feel quite warm now, although it is so cold.
That is because you have done a good action,
said the prince. And the little swallow began to think, and then he fell asleep. Thinking always made him sleepy. When day broke, he flew down to the river and had a bath.
What a remarkable phenomenon.
Said the professor of ornithology.
A swallow in winter.
And he wrote a long letter about it to the local newspaper. Everyone quoted it. It was full of so many words that they could not understand.
Tonight I go to Egypt,
said the swallow, and he was in high spirits at the prospect. He visited all the public monuments and sat a long time on top of the church steeple. Wherever he went, the sparrows chirruped and said to each other,
What a distinguished stranger.
Very distinguished, yes.
So he enjoyed himself very much. When the moon rose, he flew back to the happy prince.
Have you any commissions for Egypt?
He cried.
I am just starting.
Swallow, swallow, little swallow,
said the prince.
Will you not stay with me one night longer?
I am waited for in Egypt,
answered the swallow.
Tomorrow my friends will fly up to the second cataract. The river horse couches there among the bulrushes, and on a great granite throne sits the god Memnon. All night long he watches the stars, and when the morning star shines, he utters one cry of joy, and then he is silent. At noon, the yellow lions come down to the water's edge to drink. They have eyes like green barrels, and their roar is louder than the roar of the cataract.
Swallow, swallow, little swallow.
Said the prince.
Far away, across the city, I see a young man in a garret. He is leaning over a desk covered with papers, and in a tumbler by his side, there is a bunch of withered violets. His hair is brown and crisp, and his lips are red as pomegranate. And he has large and dreamy eyes. He's trying to finish a play for the director of the theater. But he is too cold to write anymore. There is no fire in the grate, and hunger has made him faint.
I will wait with you one night longer,
said the swallow, who really had a good heart.
Shall I take him another ruby?
Alas, I have no ruby now,
said the prince.
My eyes are all that I have left. They're made of rare sapphires, which were brought out of India 1,000 years ago. Pluck out one of them and take it to him. He will sell it to the jeweler and buy food and firewood and finish his play.
Dear prince,
said the swallow,
I cannot do that.
And he began to weep.
Oh, swallow, swallow, little swallow,
said the prince.
Do as I command you.
So the swallow plucked out the prince's eye and flew away to the student's garret. It was easy enough to get in, as there was a hole in the roof. Through this he darted and came into the room. The young man had his head buried in his hands, so he did not hear the flutter of the bird's wings. And when he looked up, he found the beautiful sapphire lying on the withered violets.
I am beginning to be appreciated,
he cried.
This is from some great admirer. Now I can finish my play.
And he looked quite happy. The next day, the swallow flew down to the harbor. He sat on the mast of a large vessel and watched the sailors hauling big chests out of the hold with ropes. They shouted as each chest came up.
I am going to Egypt,
cried the swallow, but nobody minded. And when the moon rose, he flew back to the happy prince.
I am come to bid you goodbye,
he cried.
Oh, swallow, swallow, little swallow,
said the prince.
Will you not stay with me one night longer?
It is winter,
answered the swallow,
and the chill snow will soon be here. In Egypt, the sun is warm on the green palm trees, and the crocodiles lie in the mud and look lazily about them. My companions are building a nest in the temple of Baalbek, and the pink and white doves are watching them and cooing to each other. Dear prince, I must leave you, but I will never forget you, and next spring I will bring you back 2 beautiful jewels in place of those you have given away. The ruby shall be redder than a red rose, and the sapphire shall be as blue as the great sea.
In the square below,
said the happy prince,
there stands a little match girl. She has let her matches fall in the gutter, and they are all spoiled. Her father will beat her if she does not bring home some money. And she is crying. She has no shoes or stockings, and her little head is bare. Pluck out my other eye and give it to her, and her father will not beat her.
I will stay with you one night longer,
said the swallow.
But I cannot pluck out your eye. You would be quite blind then.
Swallow, swallow, little swallow,
said the prince.
Do as I command you.
So he plucked out the prince's other eye and darted down with it. He swooped past the match girl and slipped the jewel into the palm of her hand.
What a lovely bit of glass!
Cried the little girl, and she ran home laughing. Then the swallow came back to the prince.
You are blind now,
He said,
so I will stay with you always.
No, little swallow.
said the poor prince.
You must go away to Egypt.
I will stay with you always.
Said the swallow, and he slept at the prince's feet. All the next day, he sat on the prince's shoulder and told him stories of what he had seen in strange lands. He told him of the red ibises who stand in long rows on the banks of the Nile and catch gold fish in their beaks, of the Sphinx, who is as old as the world itself and lives in the desert and knows everything, of the merchants who walk slowly by the side of their camels and carry amber beads in their hands, of the king of the mountains of the moon, who is as black as ebony and worships a large crystal, of the great green snake that sleeps in a palm tree and has 20 priests to feed it with honey cakes, and of the pygmies who sail over a big lake on large flat leaves and are always at war with the butterflies.
Dear little swallow,
Said the prince.
you tell me of marvelous things. But more marvelous than anything is the suffering of men and women. There is no mystery so great as misery. Fly over my city, little swallow, and tell me what you see there.
So the swallow flew over the great city and saw the rich making merry in their beautiful houses, while the beggars were sitting at the gates. He flew into dark lanes and saw the white faces of starving children looking out listlessly at the black streets. Under the archway of a bridge, 2 little boys were lying in one another's arms to try and keep themselves warm.
Oh, how hungry we are.
They said,
You must not lie here.
shouted the watchman, and they wandered out into the rain. Then he flew back and told the prince what he had seen.
I am covered with fine gold.
Said the prince.
You must take it off leaf by leaf and give it to my poor. The living always think that gold can make them happy.
Leaf after leaf of the fine gold the swallow picked off, till the happy prince looked quite dull and gray. Leaf after leaf of the fine gold he brought to the poor, and the children's faces grew rosier, and they laughed and played games in the street.
Oh, we have bread now.
I like bread.
Oh,
They
bread.
cried out happily. Then the snow came, and after the snow came the frost. The streets looked as if they were made of silver. They were so bright and glistening. Long icicles, like crystal daggers, hung down from the eaves of the houses. Everybody went about in furs, and the little boys wore scarlet caps and skated on the ice. The poor little swallow grew colder and colder, but he would not leave the prince. He loved him too well. He picked up crumbs outside the baker's door when the baker was not looking, and tried to keep himself warm by flapping his wings. But at last, he knew that he was going to die. He had just strength to fly up to the prince's shoulder once more.
Goodbye, dear prince.
He murmured.
Will you let me kiss your hand?
I'm glad that you're going to Egypt at last, little swallow.
Said the prince.
You have stayed too long here. But you must kiss me on the lips, for I love you.
It is not to Egypt that I am going.
Said the swallow.
I am going to the house of death. Death is the brother of sleep, is he not?
And he kissed the happy prince on the lips and fell down dead at his feet. At that moment, a curious crack sounded inside the statue, as if something had broken. The fact is that the leaden heart had snapped right in two. It certainly was a dreadfully hard frost. Early the next morning, the mayor was walking in the square below, in company with the town councilors. As they passed the column, he looked up at the statue.
Dear me, how shabby the happy prince looks.
He said,
How shabby indeed.
Very
Oh,
shabby. Yes, I agree.
Oh.
cried the town councilors, who always agreed with the mayor, and they went up to look at it.
The ruby has fallen out of his sword. His eyes are gone, and he is golden no longer.
Said the mayor.
In fact, he is little better than a beggar.
Oh, no better than a beggar. No, it's just a beggar.
little better
Oh,
than
no
that.
better. No
said
better.
the town councilors,
And there is actually a dead bird at his feet.
continued the mayor.
We must really issue a proclamation that birds are not to be allowed to die here.
And the town clerk made a note of the suggestion. So they pulled down the statue of the happy prince.
As he is no longer beautiful, he is no longer useful.
Said the art professor at the university. Then they melted the statue in a furnace. And the mayor held a meeting of the corporation to decide what was to be done with the metal.
Well, I'm telling you, we must do, yes.
We must have another statue, of course.
He said,
And it shall be a statue of me.
Oh, no,
of me.
No, Mr. Mayor, myself, Mr. Mayor,
I think it should be me.
please.
said each of the town councilors, and they quarreled. When I last heard of them, they were quarreling still.
What a strange thing.
Said the overseer of the workmen at the foundry.
This broken lead heart will not melt in the furnace. We must throw it away.
So they threw it on a dust heap where the dead swallow was also lying.
Bring me the two most precious things in the city.
Said God to one of his angels. And the angel brought him the leaden heart and the dead bird.
You have rightly chosen.
Said God.
For in my garden of paradise, this little bird shall sing forevermore. And in my city of gold, the happy prince shall praise.
The end.
That was another injury-free performance here at Ethertail Radio Theater
fine.
of a delightful story written by Oscar Wilde, intended for children, called The Happy Prince. And it featured Wade Taylor. We've waited so long to feature Wade. Wade, who runs all that we see here. He's the czar of everything that we're looking at here at WSRadio.com.
I am the turner of knobs.
Yes, that's right. Here at the worldwide leader in Internet talk. Thank you, Wade, for this opportunity. And thank you, Barbara Henderson, for that heavy-duty role as narrator. Excellent job.
Yes. I love the story you picked out. This was perfect for
Yes,
holidays.
it sure was. And Melanie Peters played 17 people. She gets paid per person, too, so that's good. Per character. Thank you.
Oh, you're
Melanie.
more than welcome. You're more than welcome.
And in the ultimate in method acting, we chose an actress from San Juan Capistrano to play the swallow, Karen Peters. Thank you,
Yes, I
Karen.
felt right
Karen
on
Fisher.
time.
Karen Fisher, meant to say.
Thank you.
And let's hear it for God.
Yes.
Oh, that was me. That was me.
And the Happy Prince.
Oh, yeah, it had to be that. Yeah.
Mr.
Only
Scott
because,
Paulson.
only because Wade was, because Gabe was sick. Oh, Gabe.
Poor
I wish he could have been, and he would have been great. But, we do what we do. And I played harp, too. I even almost tuned it. But we kind of ran out of time like we always do. Oh, dear. But it was good to have the harp here. And my little magic wand, which when I dragged across the table sounded, whoa, boy, that sounded bad, huh? Oh, dear. I really should have placed it on top of a cloth, I guess. What time is it in Radioland? Oh, good. I think we have time for a special visit from someone. Isn't that wonderful? That would be. But you're going to have to join me on this side because the harp is here.
Sure.
And, ladies and gentlemen, it's a
The dancer's making her way around the table.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so glad that we have a very special guest to close out the show today. Someone who's come in special for us. And I'll have to get closer to my microphone to introduce her. And I also have to reset the pedals on my harp to something else. Oh, dear. Let me do it real fast. I'm just setting this like this and setting this one like that. Okay. And this is a time of year where we need special guests to remind us of how wonderful the season is. And joining me today is the wonderful, wonderful, wonderful swan of the airwaves. Yes, it's true. I think, actually, she's coming down from the chandelier now. She's descending down. What an entrance! I'm just all choked up about it. Oh my gosh, it's the swan of the airwaves, Madame Petrovsky.
Oh, hello, listeners and dancers. I'm so happy to be here on the radio to guide you through the wonder that is dance.
Oh, yes, Madame Petrovsky. Yes, you do have an unusual avocation as an over-the-airwaves dance ambassadress, a radio ballet teacher.
Oh, yes. I am blessed to have the opportunity to work with radio listeners. I get them involved with dance as they listen to the music.
Oh, that sounds difficult.
Oh, no, not at all. I tell my listeners, just because I can't see you and you can't see me, that doesn't mean we can't dance to the music together.
But what drew you to this mission?
Well, listening to music without dancing is a sin.
Well, that's a strong statement, Madame Petrovsky.
But it is a true statement, Scott. Music and dance are related muses that should never be separate. Movement and musical experience are one. Radio listeners should not keep still. They should react to the music spontaneously. But because many listeners are shy or untrained, they often remain as motionless prisoners.
Now, in your broadcasts, how do you encourage your listeners to move? How do they know what to do?
I have a series of patented movements that young and old and differently abled are encouraged to try. And the movements can be modified to suit the situation of the listener.
How's that? Do give some examples.
Well, the holidays are upon us, and this can be stressful to the body. The cooking, the cleaning, and the travel, dealing with relatives, etc. There's more joy in all of this if we stretch our muscles and extend our limbs and find time to dance to the music of the holidays.
But what are some of these patented movements, Madame Petrovsky?
Well, some are nicknamed after radio terms. For example, let's all pretend we're wrapping our arms around a giant radio dial. And, like you're trying to find the right station, radio dial to the right, to the right, to the right.
Radio dial to the right, to the right, to the right.
And now, radio dial to the left, to the left, to the left.
Radio dial to the left,
to the
left, to the left.
That was beautiful. Now, using both your hands, like you're pushing something away, you're going to search to the right, search to the right, search to the right.
Search to the right, search to the right, search to the right.
Yes, just like that. Now we're going to tune to the left, tune to the left, tune to the left.
Tune to the left, tune to the left, Tune to the left.
Okay, now let's stretch those arms. Antenna up, antenna up, antenna up.
Antenna up, antenna up, antenna up.
And drop.
And drop.
And now swaying our arms as we AM search back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Back
AM
and
search,
forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Finally, and this is my favorite. Oh, excuse me. This is my favorite one, as it's a little bit like patting your head and rubbing your tummy. We're going to play with our hands like they're radio dials. Excuse me, for volume
Yes, we're
up
all
and
choked up by
volume
this
down.
performance. It's just amazing.
Oh, please excuse me
yes, of
just
course.
a moment.
We have a
Oh,
corporate
chandelier
sponsor.
dust.
We have a corporate sponsor, Poland Springs Water from Poland Springs, Maine, that Madame Petrovsky is now drinking. She only drinks Poland Spring waters from Poland Springs,
Must be
Maine.
very special.
It's very special. It's true. Because watch now, her cough will disappear very, very shortly.
Excuse me, I think I got some glitter in my throat from the chandelier.
Yes, it was dust, but you're very kind. Oh, my goodness.
Okay, so here we go. We're going to turn the volume up and the volume down. So, with your right hand, no, your other right,
Oh, she can tell. Whoops.
you're going to raise the volume up, up, up.
Raise the volume up, up, up.
Oh, good, very good. Now, with your left hand, no, your other left.
She still knows.
Okay, we're going to lower the volume down, down.
Lower the volume. Down.
Now, remember, right hand is volume up and left hand is volume down. And now we're going to raise the volume up, up, up.
Raise the volume up, up.
And lower the volume down.
Lower the volume down.
Oh, bravo, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, such beautiful dancing.
Yes, I feel better already.
Yes, and think how good you'd feel if you did this daily.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
As I said, extra care is needed during the holidays. So I have a musical movement to assist in a more joyful holiday. Through these next dance warm-ups, we can relieve holiday stress and prepare for holiday exertion, the cooking, cleaning, dishes, shopping, relatives, etc. Let's continue the dance. A 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yes.
Top shelf crock pot, oh so high.
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 Vacuum attachment extending out.
Vacuum attachment extending out.
Vacuum attachment retracting in.
Vacuum attachment retracting in.
Drying dishes with both hands.
Drying dishes with both hands.
Spinning plates above your heads.
Spinning plates above your head. Oh, my.
Bravo. Now, I'm not truly suggesting that you spin plates above your heads, but we need to ridicule our stress through certain imagery and activities. Now, let's take a radio ballet cleansing breath in, antennas up, and breath out. And relax.
I feel so much better. We all thank you so much, Madame Petrovsky. I'm asking, do you get much feedback from your listeners? That's punny, get it? It's radio punny feedback. But anyway, I'm sincerely, do you get much feedback from your listeners?
Well, I do get letters. I mean, mostly letters, as my listeners tend to be isolated and in areas that don't have internet access, sorry, Wade, or phone service of any kind.
Really?
Yes, that's why I am devoted entirely to shortwave radio as my medium of choice. Under the right weather conditions, shortwave radio broadcasts thousands and thousands of miles.
Yes, and even someone with the simplest wire-wrapped crystal radio set can get your show an ocean away.
Some towns, much like in the two Footloose movies, don't allow dancing, and I am their only facilitator. Also, there is a former penal colony in Australia that merely has me as their sole cultural ambassadress.
These examples are extreme, but it is true that many parts of the world have no phones, no internet, but they do have shortwave radio capabilities. It's true. And, it is to these people that we dedicate this portion of our show, and we would love this to help spread holiday joy to them, So, Madam Petrovsky, shall we end with a radio dance from you and our listeners and our people here in the studio audience? Shall we dance with you, for you now?
Oh, I'd be delighted. Okay, here we go, everybody. A 5, 6, 7, 8. Top shelf crock pot, oh so high.
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 Vacuum attachment extending out.
Vacuum attachment extending out.
Vacuum attachment retracting in.
Vacuum attachment retracting in.
Drying dishes with both hands.
Drying dishes with both hands.
Spinning plates above your head.
Spinning plates above your head.
Oh, bravo, bravo, radio listeners, everybody. Take a big curtsy. That was beautiful.
And I'll
Thank
take
you.
a bow. Thank you.
Thank you,
Madam
you.
Petrovsky. Well, we hope to see you at another holiday time. And when's your next big event, you think? Maybe Valentine's Day or something. Well,
Oh, well, I could always work on something, but my absolute favorite is Thanksgiving.
Oh, of course.
I will be on the airwaves in the Seuss Room at Geisel Library.
that's right, and I'll be there too. That's my
Next
day job.
Thanksgiving,
I
yes.
forgot. Because the day before Thanksgiving, we always host our annual turkey calling show. And Madam Petrovsky always attends in person that show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're world famous in San Diego County for that annual turkey calling show.
Yes, we are. And the studio audience, they always do such a beautiful job, much like the audience here tonight.
Yes, and we often have a turkey hotline operator assist us. And I'm going to confess to you now who it is. It's Karen Fisher. Karen Fisher always joins us for that event because she has many talents, but she also runs a turkey hotline.
Wow,
Oh, if it weren't for
impressive.
her, I would
Yeah.
poison my guests every year.
Every year, I tell you, because people just need to talk to people sometimes. They don't want to just tappity tap on a keyboard. They get upset and they have to just talk to Karen Fisher. I tell
It takes
you.
a village sometimes.
It does. It surely
Especially
does.
for a turkey.
Yes. Well, again, we want to thank our special guest, Wade Taylor. Wade.
Wait.
Thank you very much.
And we're thanking Madam Petrovsky
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank
Madame,
you.
madame.
and Melanie Peters.
I'm going to go clear the glitter out of my
I'm
throat.
telling you. And Barbara Henderson.
Great to be here, Scott.
And Karen Fisher.
Thank you. I loved it.
So glad that your background, from your hometown at San Juan Capistrano was able to prepare you for playing the role of the swallow in this performance.
Yes, it was meant to be.
I just wish that Oscar Wilde could have been alive to hear you, meet you. Oh, my. Well, Ouija board next time. We'll see. Well, I guess it's time to say goodnight. I'll just start flailing my arms around and hope maybe we'll hear some, public domain music that takes us off the air. There it's the public domain music that takes us off the air. Good night from Ether Tail Radio Theater here at WSRadio.com. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Attention coaches, authors, speakers, and business owners. Please pay close attention to what I'm about to say if you want to secure massive visibility fast and generate thousands of highly qualified leads without spending a dime on advertising or marketing. The easiest way to make this happen is to appear as a guest on the world's most popular podcast. We recently came across an awesome resource that provides detailed contact information for 240 new media influencers who are looking for guests just like you. It's called the Ultimate Directory, and for a limited time, you can get the preview edition of the directory absolutely free. That's right, for free. It's time for you to get the visibility you and your business deserve and connect with the world's leading icons of influence who can make you famous with the push of a button. Get your free preview edition of the Ultimate Directory right now at www.myultimatedirectory.com. That's myultimatedirectory.com.
You were born to do one amazing thing, but most people spend a lifetime trying to identify what it is. If you're in a job you don't like or are unemployed, if you're in a state of transition or just can't shake that nagging feeling that you were meant and made to do something extraordinary, then the Reinvention Workshop is exactly what you need. Led by award-winning self-help author Steve Olsher, the Reinvention Workshop will forever change your life. The Reinvention Workshop takes you step by step through Steve's proven formula that has helped so many people get on the right path and clear about what they were born to do. Take the first step to realizing the life you deserve and desire by visiting thereinventionworkshop.com today. No more delays. No more denial. Reconnect with your true self. Learn to live with purpose and conviction and become who you were born to be. The world is waiting for you. What are you waiting for? Log on to thereinventionworkshop.com today. That's thereinventionworkshop.com.
Too much to do? Not enough time to get it done? Call on the experts at Another 8 Hours for your business support needs. By partnering with Another 8 Hours, we allow you to focus on the more important matters, like being in front of your clients, doing what you do best, rather than being stuck at a desk poring over paperwork, rummaging through emails, returning phone calls, and struggling to get everything done by yourself. Meanwhile, your family and social life are going down the drain. Go to another8hours.com or call 8 More Hours. That's 866-734-6877.
This is Bill Gruber with BizVid Communications, a Southern California video production leader. We've been honored to sponsor, produce, write, and host many of the fine programs on WS Radio over the years. So we understand how important the internet and your website exposure are. As video producers, we know the tricks and secrets to incorporate video to increase your search engine optimization and business success. Visit bizvidcommunications.com to see what we can do for you. BIZVID communications.com.